What's up, everybody? Rob here, the Medicare minister, and I'm back with a brand new interview. It's going to be fire today. Before we dive in that with Mr. Ryan Loede, we're going to just want to encourage you to subscribe, because I don't want you to miss any of these interviews coming up, any of this content that we're dropping every day. Give us a like, give us a comment. Let us know that this encouraged you. Let us know that this put some fresh wind in your sails, because I truly believe that we need fresh, positive, inspiring content every day. Just like you're taking a bath every day, hopefully you need this content every single day. So I want to welcome Mr. Ryan Loede to the Medicare Minister channel. Ryan, thanks so much for being with us today, man.
I appreciate you having me on. Hopefully I can inspire some people to get to the next level in their life.
Absolutely. And so the reason I started this channel was really because I just wanted to, like you said, inspire people, motivate people. And I know there's a lot of that out there, but I just really wanted to do it from a different perspective and not necessarily strategies, if you will, because everybody's kind of doing that, but just more of like principles and things that have worked for you. So before we dive into that, give me a little bit of your bio and your story, kind of that ESPN highlight story, if you don't mind, just for our listeners and our watchers here.
Absolutely. So I'm 23 years young, based here in Tampa, Florida now. Just moved here. I wrote about $1 million in final expense on my own pen within the last 2 years. Wow. Right now, just building my agency and growing and, sharing that experience to other people, and now opening up the opportunity for other people as well.
Sure. And so how did you get started in the final expense? Was that a friend, a mentor, or how did you get started in the industry?
It was just an opportunity that was shown to me from my cousin. I was visiting him out in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was living there. I know I didn't want to go to college. I had no drive, no purpose, didn't know what I wanted to do in life. So it was just an opportunity, and I took it and just went all in with it. And that's the way I got to where I'm at right now in my life, by going all in and fully committing to it.
Yeah, and that's a great way to start it. So you were saying no purpose, really no vision, maybe no goals. What really happened, or what book, or what mentor, or what speaker, what changed that for you? I know you got into the industry introduced by your cousin, but what really began to change it for you? Like when you just begin to say, man, I got to write some goals down, man, I got to start consuming content, man, I got to start having dreams and some vision. What really turned that for you?
Honestly, it kind of stemmed from me going out to Charlotte and visiting my cousin, and then also viewing that opportunity. It kind of stemmed from there. I think that's really where everything started clicking in my life. I decided, and I noticed that, man, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired with where I'm at and what I have in my life. So it kind of sparked from there. And then I started to listen to all these old school guys like Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Earl Nightingale. I started to shift my mindset first. And then after I shift my mindset, I really started diving into my mentor, and that's Grant Cardone. If you guys know me, who's watching here, they know I love Grant Cardone. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that about the mindset, because I did a video the other day that I had heard on a podcast, a 7-figure podcast, a YouTube channel. And what I love what they said is that inconsistent thinking leads to inconsistent productivity. And I'm a faith guy, so I read the Bible a lot, and the Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? You got to have that clear vision, that consistent vision, where you want to go in life, and you can't be all over the place chasing shiny objects. And it sounds like very early on in your career, you just said, man, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, as you said, and I'm going to get focused. But let me ask you this, because a lot of people say that. I just want you to be 100% real. Was it hard for you that first few months or year, or what, that took discipline, right, to get to that level that you're at now?
Massive amounts of consistency and discipline. And honestly, the thing that really held me back in the beginning, and the thing that made it super hard, because it was so hard for whatever reason. And the reason is because I was thinking small. Yeah. I was thinking small from the get-go, and that had me acting small, and that had me getting small results. So it was just harder to get past that learning curve, harder to, build the tools and, become a professional and great in the insurance industry. So Man, it was super, super tough, especially moving from my hometown where I was born and raised, moving out to Charlotte, North Carolina. I did not know a single soul. But what that, had me do is, since I knew no one, it had me laser focused on what I was, wanting to attain in my life and that end goal. And that was obviously learning as much as I can about insurance, becoming like going all in, diving all in, literally drinking the Kool-Aid, literally freaking absorbing myself and whatever content and knowledge I could within the insurance industry. So, but those first 8 months when I was living in Charlotte, it was hard, man. It was hard. I had no coaches, no like mentor, no one around me that I could jive with, that I could, share information with. Like, hey, what are you doing that works? What are you doing that doesn't work?
Sure.
I had no one around me. And that's why it's so important to surround ourselves with like-minded people, to surround ourselves with people that want to see us win, people that want to encourage us to keep pushing, even when it seems like we need to quit.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I love about the content, man. I said, I got to interview this guy because I'm watching this guy and I'm passionate and love energy, but it's like you're that on steroids or something. I need to go down to Tampa and drink some of the Kool-Aid he's drinking. But, it's people think it's cliche, but it's not, man. When you're around a tribe of people and people that are like-minded and you get rid of the haters and the negative people and the small thinking people, that I call that being on the lazy river of life. I grew up in Oklahoma and they used to have this water park where you'd get on your inner tube, you just sit there with your drink and just float with the rest of the crowd. Too many people are doing that today in life. And it takes a very select few people, a very special person to say, I'm not going down the lazy river of life. I'm going down the road less traveled. And you seem to be one of those guys. And I'm inspired by what you're doing. So let me ask you this. Why didn't you quit? I mean, because you had no purpose, you had no vision, you had your goals. All of a sudden, you're going to go all in. What was your ultimate why you didn't quit in those first 8 months?
Those first 8 months, I was still not writing goals. I still didn't really have any targets. I really didn't have a why yet. I didn't have a purpose. And this is something I just got back from a person of interest event at Coach Bert's Lodge.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know who Coach Bert is, definitely start to know him because he's America's coach, greatest coach in the world. So, and funny thing is because he was mentioning how your purpose finds you. You don't find your purpose. I mean, it could be, it could be another way around, but for me, I found my purpose. And the way I found my purpose is I jumped into this opportunity and I just went all in, I fully committed. And that kind of like made me realize like, wow, helping people is great. Putting out my energy, my service to other people is just great. So that kind of just built my why, built my purpose. And what kind of had me pushing through the tough times, the adversity, the trials and tribulations, those first 8 months is really just understanding like, hey, I got into this for a reason. I got into this to become successful and then, create income and revenue in my life. So I was like, hey, there's one option. And that's one thing that holds a lot of people back. They have an option. They have another option. They have another option. They have all these other options. And they're not fully focused on what they should be focused on. So that's really what helped me, continue to persevere and, stay persistent through, all those tough times. It's really just having only one option. I was like, man, I'm going to make this work. I got into this for a reason. I'm going to make it work. So I just had a, do or die type of mentality, attitude. Like I'm going to do whatever it takes, can do attitude, believe I will figure it out, focus on opportunity, love challenges, seek to solve problems, all that good stuff. So that just really had me toning in and also, continually ingraining my mind with knowledge, with strategies, tactics, and just continuing to listening to my mentor, the mentor that I had in my life. And I could trust him more than I could trust myself at that time. So it was great just viewing someone who's where I want to be and they've done what I want to do. And just trusting like the process and trusting like, hey, I can do it as well. If they can do it, I can do it.
Sure. And speaking of mentors, because I believe in them wholeheartedly, what was one thing that you felt like, and I know there may be many things, but just for the sake of time, what was one thing you felt like your mentor really just imparted to you that contributed to that $1 million in writing that business in the past 2 years and where you're at now?
the main thing is going all in and being fully committed, because you're either going to be committed or you're going to be interested. You're either going to be obsessed or you're going to be average. You're either going to be doing everything that you can or you're not going to be doing. There's no gray area in anything in life. You're either going to be doing it to the full extent or you're not going to be doing it at all. Right. Like why would anyone go into any situation, anything in their life with hey, I might just do this halfway, you know, I'll go in halfway. No, the purpose of anything in life is just to go all in, because that's what's going to create those experiences in our life. And that's what's going to create, like, hey, like I can look back, you know, I'm 6 years old. I look back when I'm 20, 30, like, man, I'm glad I did what I did. I'm glad I put in that hard work. And I think that's really the main thing that really helped me, is just like focusing on like going all in, fully committing, and just, you know, thinking a lot bigger than I was thinking at the beginning. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just opening and broadening your mindset and honestly looking at what these other successful people are doing and just doing what they're doing. So,
sure.
I mean, that's one of the main things there.
Sure. And then you were talking about Grant Cardone. And of course, I know you post a lot about him, and anybody that follows you knows that he's had a big impact on your life. How has he impacted your life in a big way to help you get to where you're at today?
I mean, like I said, all of his information, all of his tactics, strategies, what he puts out, it just really related to me. You know, I had kind of like a drug addiction back in high school, you know, just smoking weed, doing stuff that normal teenagers do. And I kind of connected to that. I connected to that. So that kind of, you know, pulled me towards him, and I just started listening to him. And I really just like found him out of the blue. I didn't know who this guy was. I saw him on Instagram or YouTube, and I'm just like, I'm going to start listening to this dude. He seems like he knows what he's doing. He seems like he's created a life that I want to live in. Right. So I just started listening to him, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of the young guys that I've mentored over the years, one of the things I challenge them is there's no way you can't listen to content like Grant or Gary Vee or Eric, the hip hop preacher, or whoever your flavor is, for 90 days and not be a different person unless you just don't want to change. I mean, you know, so I'm a big believer in consuming content, whether it's reading books, Audible, watching YouTube videos, like stuff that you're putting out or others. Just, it's encouraging. It puts just fresh wind in your sails is kind of the analogy that I use. And so it looks like you're the same way. It looks like you're always consuming content. You're always studying, that you refuse to say, hey, I've made it. Is that right? Because I see that in all your stories and all your videos that you post.
Yeah, I mean, my belief is that studying is something that we do. It's not something that we did, because if we rely on the past content, the past knowledge, strategies, processes, tactics, those past, you know, things that we've, you know, accumulated throughout the past, and we're like, oh, I'm good here, I don't need to learn anything else. There's going to be other people who are totally focused on learning and totally focused on continually getting better. And what's going to happen is you're going to stop learning. They're going to continue to learn, and they're going to surpass you. And then you're going to be left behind. You're going to be out there just competing with the rest of the pack instead of dominating like you should be.
Right. Right. And a lot of people do that. They kind of rest on their laurels, if you will. They settle because they think they've done something. And so it's always just cultivating that fire, man, and that insatiable hunger to want to succeed and to reach your goals. And so you talked about, you know, when you first started kind of lacking that vision, that purpose, you found that in this industry. You had some mentors, a personal mentor, but also it seems like Grant, his content has mentored you along the way. What would you say your why is now? Like what is driving Ryan today? What is really the ultimate why here?
Why is to impact thousands of individuals and allow them to create a life that they don't seem to be possible. I want to share what I've done in my life and also impact, like I said, thousands of other individuals and show them that they can do the exact same thing that I've done. I was no one. I mean, we all have skills. We all have talents. And anyone can do exactly what I've done in my life. And that's what I want to share to other people. And then also just start that spiraling effect. Like I share with one person, they share with another person, and it just keeps sharing the knowledge and the wealth to other people. And just ultimately, I just want to see a lot of people become successful. And I want to help hundreds, if not millions, or hundreds of millions of people and just change their lives, really.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and you know this already. I'm not telling you something to know, but it's interesting when you provide value to people, how the money just comes in. Like, it's interesting when you live on I tell people you were made on purpose for a purpose, right? And you're living on purpose. And it's interesting that when you live on purpose and you have this desire to impact people's lives, so many people chase money and they don't realize that it's just adding value to people's life. It's just making a difference and an impact. And it seems like you're doing that in your content and just, just the little bit that I know about you and seeing other people, even with the ginger shots. I tried it, wasn't my thing, even though I like really hot stuff, but there's a lot of guys that you have influenced to take that, that ginger shot. And it seems like it's making a difference in their life. So I know that some people that's silly, but you're making a difference in people's lives, and even the water that you're drinking, I've seen other people adopt that. And now you have me looking into it as well, thinking about, drinking it. So you are making a difference.
I want to jump in really quick.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, we were put on this earth for a purpose. And one thing that really jumped into my mind when you said that is like, through the startup of being in the insurance industry, I'm helping these people. And I'm thinking like, because I have good faith in the Lord as well. I'm thinking like, wow, the Lord must have put me on this earth to help people. So that really, that was a big jumping point for me as well.
Yeah. And you can tell that you just said, man, I'm not making no excuses. I'm all in. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And maybe you should start manufacturing some of that Ryan Loede Kool-Aid and selling it, man, on shelves across the nation. Cause I know I would drink some, but it's one of those things that it's interesting that just something clicked in your life. A lot of people make excuses. Well, I came from a single mom home. My mom was married multiple times. We were on welfare. Lights got shut off. I was indoctrinated in the scarcity mindset, right? I've been a victim of child abuse from one of my stepdads. I could have used all those excuses, but instead I used it as a platform to live on purpose. And it sounds like, you were talking about a little bit, drug addiction, high school or whatever. And you said, well, I had skills, but maybe I wasn't like the top of this or top of that, but you chose not to make excuses. And instead you just chose to get better, not bitter. Right. And so where does that come from? Where does that come from? Is it just,
man. So I was born and raised in like a sports environment type of home. So I was playing all those sports when I was growing up: baseball, football, basketball, even a little bit of soccer. So I just really have this like winning mentality inside of me. And I'm sure, any other person you talk to that has like a sports mentality to them, like they want to win. And that's really the thing that really keeps me driving, is because I'm always looking to get better. I'm always trying to succeed. And if I find myself in a challenge or something that might be difficult to achieve, that really just sparks something under me. And I'm like, let's go. Like that really like locks me in, because on the other side of that challenge or a problem is a massive opportunity. So just growing up in like a sports type of environment really just had me always wanting to kind of be better, always wanting to improve. Because if I'm not improving during my childhood years during sports, if I'm not improving and getting better, I'm going to be sitting on the bench. And I'm not a bench rider. I want to be on the field. I want to be playing. I want to be, contributing, if we say.
Yeah. And that's a great word to use, because we have so many consumers in this life that just want to consume, sit on the sidelines, bystanders. But, you're one of those select few, man, that wants to contribute, be in the game, put me in, coach, right? That's the mentality that you and others that I've had the opportunity and the blessing to interview have. So you're talking about writing $1 million in final expense over the past 2 years. Obviously, I think you have bigger plans than just your own personal production. Is the goal to own an agency? Are you building a team? I mean, tell us a little bit about that real quickly.
Right now, I'm currently opening up the opportunity that was showed to me. I'm currently opening that up to other individuals as well. Awesome. And specifically, I'm looking for some people that are like die hard, want to make a change. They want to walk through glass shards to get from point A to B. They'll wake up with their eyes bleeding and still show up and take the right actions every single day. So I'm looking for top-notch individuals that are focused, literally laser focused, and they're committed. They're all in. They're just like me. You know, you attract the type of person that you are, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
building an
good.
agency. It's going to be an 8-figure agency. It's going to be hard. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to be consistent. We're going to be training every day, and we're just going to be absolutely professionals and greats, just showing, you know, what's capable in the insurance
Sure.
industry.
Sure. And are you doing just final expense only? What about other are you doing anything else besides final expense in your agency? Or?
Yeah, I'm doing Medicare right now
Awesome.
myself, but all my agents that are coming in, they're just going to start with final expense, because I mean, that's what I personally started with. And I think it's great because it's a little bit easier, and you obviously have that cash flow.
Sure.
And then once you build up that big book of final expense clients, then you can easily just, you know, go back to them and, you know, help them out with their Medicare. So yeah, first step is definitely final expense.
It can seem like if you do too much drinking from a water, you know, hydrants or fire hydrant, so to speak, and can be very overwhelming. Well, listen, a few more questions here. Once again, man, thanks so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. I've asked this to everybody that I've interviewed. If there was one word you could use to describe yourself, what would that one word be? Say it again. Okay. And so how has that one word helped you be successful?
Unreasonable. One person might think, well, I'm going to go to this extent to maybe get a client's business, whereas an unreasonable person is going to go far past what a reasonable person is going to do. An unreasonable person is going to go miles above what a reasonable person is going to do. And that's really helped me catapult my success, because when there's people thinking like, oh, if I spend X amount of dollars on leads and, you know, I'm trying to get this return, like the unreasonable person's just going to put money down because they know they need the leads. They know that's what's needed to become successful. And they're going to continue to put that money down and continue to do that because they know that there's going to be a return. So unreasonable, man. You just got to be unreasonable with everything that you're doing in your life. And you think like, hey, I'm trying to run a mile today. Mm-hmm. An unreasonable person is going to go a little further. You know, they're going to go the extra mile. That's what an unreasonable person is going to do. Whereas a reasonable person, they're just going to, you know, do what's necessary, and they're just going to do enough.
So were you born with that unreasonableness, or was that something that you've cultivated in your life over the past few years?
I was a bit of a troublemaker back in my childhood and high school days. So I kind of just did whatever I want. And that kind of, you know, created that unreasonable feeling about what I do and what I want to do. So, but it's been building up. I mean, I'm more unreasonable now than I was back in the day, obviously. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you took something that could be perceived as a negative trait and you honed that in and disciplined yourself, and you've used it to have the success that you're having now. Where I think a lot of people would make an excuse and go, well, this is just the way that I am. You redirected that passion, that fire, that unreasonable spirit. And now, man, it seems like, you know, you're being blessed down there in Florida and that you're just killing it.
Hey, everything that's, you know, where I'm at in my life, everything that I've got, it's from the Lord, but obviously my work that I put in obviously created those results. But if I wasn't in direct correlation and having good faith with the Lord, then he would not be putting these blessings on me. Bottom line. If I'm not being ethical, if I'm not, you know, doing the best thing that I could possibly can be doing, if I'm not being a good person in general,
sure,
I'm not going to be getting the results. And I mean, the way I think of it is that, like, I view everything in my life as an ethical viewpoint. Like, success is ethical. Health is ethical. You know, creating wealth is ethical. Doing the steps that are necessary in your life, everything has to be viewed as an ethical viewpoint. So, yeah. I mean, that's something that's really, really, really helped me out, is viewing everything as an ethical viewpoint.
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that, because you said it earlier, and we know this because I know we probably study similar content, but you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are, right? And if you're not an ethical person, you're going to attract unethical people. If you're shady, sketchy, that's the kind of people you're going to attract to your agency, right? And so it's daily working on ourselves and being a better version of ourselves every single day, and honing in our skills and sharpening. So that's really, really good stuff. So I got to ask, because it seems, and I don't know you really, really well, but other guys that know you and even the stuff you posted on social media, it seems like your diet really plays a large part in your success too. Is that a correct assumption? And would you just speak on that for those that may be watching today?
100%. So in order to, perform at peak performance, or in order to have massive amounts of energy, enthusiasm, creativity, commitment, the whole 9 yards, all those attributes that are like so necessary to creating success, you're not going to be able to have those attributes if you're not taking care of your body. Right. You're not going to be able to have energy. You're not going to have enthusiasm. You might be committed, but you might go X amount distance, and since your body's not right, you might not be able to push yourself anymore. So, and that really helps me to continue to push forward, because the stuff that I'm putting in my body, it's either going to take a while to digest and rob me of my energy, or it's, going to be something that's going to uplift me and give me a little bit more energy. So, man, I'm super health conscious. I believe that if we're not focused on our health, what good is it to have money? Because we're going to be sitting 20 years from now. I could be a billionaire 20 years from now. I will be a billionaire 20 years from now. But if my health isn't right, that money's worthless. That money is absolutely worthless. Yeah. I mean, health. It's hard, but it might be a little bit more important than wealth.
Yeah.
That's a tough one though. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. And I definitely believe that. You make me feel old when you say you're 23, because I'm 46. I'll be 47 in a few months. And I wish that I would have listened to that. I just started working out about a year ago. And I've always been an early bird, but I've never been a worked out guy. I haven't always had the best diet, but now I'm starting to take that more seriously. And I can see that I have more energy, and it helps me in my overall day of achieving my goal. So I love that you say that, especially for those right now watching this, this is something to really just stop and pause and go, what kind of diet do I have? Am I really paying attention to that area in my life? You may be successful, but maybe this is an area that it seems like a lot of people really discount and don't pay a lot of attention to. It
really all stems down to being like so totally focused on having all of your areas in life. We don't want to have to, like, just going back to what I was talking about, we don't want to sacrifice our health just to get wealth or just to get money or accumulate riches. We don't want to sacrifice our spirituality for, riches as well. We don't want to sacrifice one area for another. We might as well have it all. And in order to have it all, we have to go all in. Yeah. Just like we spoke about in the beginning, you have to go all in. You have to fully commit, and you have to, be just so laser focused and limit as many distractions as you can. Sure. And man, what you were talking about earlier is great. How a lot of people are just wandering around in life. And I'm thinking about this Ed Milet podcast that I've listened to, is like, it's just sad how many people are just wandering around with no purpose, no drive. And that's something that I want to change as well, because there's so many, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like I was years ago, no drive, no purpose, don't know what to do in life. So that's big, brother.
Yeah, I call it being an atmosphere changer. Too many people are changed by the atmosphere they're in, but it takes a unique person to say, I'm going to change the atmosphere. I'm going to change the temperature. You're definitely one of those guys. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because even now, man, I'm pumped up, and I was a little tired, to be honest with you, end of the day, but man, talking with somebody else of like spirit, can feel the energy, the passion. I just believe we're all connected that way. You know what I mean? When we're talking to one another. So 2 more things real quickly. You're a big believer in investing yourself. You wouldn't go to Grant Cardone conferences. You wouldn't be pumping out the content that you're pumping out. Why is it so important that people invest in themselves?
Reason why is because the more money you put down in yourself towards an event, conference, training material, whatever it might be, the more you invest into something, the more you're going to make sure that it works. The more you're going to follow through to completion on what you invested in. Think about it this way. There's a $30 book out there, and that $30 book, it can be worth millions, right? It can be worth millions, but some people just look at it as like a $30 book,
Right.
whereas they're not looking at the value that it could bring. So if you're not investing in yourself, if you're not continually pouring into yourself, whatever it might be, then I mean, you're just not going to be growing. You're just not going to be continually elevating yourself. You're not going to be growing. And I mean, people who kind of pull back from investing, it really stems down to just not having enough of the 3 C's that I call it: the confidence, certainty, and courage.
Sure.
Why won't you invest in yourself? Why won't you invest into a program? Why won't you invest in a training material, leads, whatever it might be? Why won't you do it? I mean, if you have enough confidence and certainty and courage in yourself, then you will know that you will get a return. It's not possible to not get a return. I mean, that's how I view it, man. I mean, It's super important, super important.
Yeah. I interviewed Josh Lustig, and he's a big Marshall Silver guy. And he had talked about how he had invested about 150,000. I know it was over 100,000 in himself in the past year. And a lot of people thought he was crazy, but he's on track to do $1 million this year. And so we were just talking about that belief in yourself. And, if you don't believe in yourself, then who will? And so I'm a big advocate in investing in yourself, whether it's, like you said, books, right? Whether it's conferences like, you and I have gone to, whatever the case may be. Michael Burt, you're talking about going there to his little retreat. I've never walked away from something like that empty-handed. I've always I go looking for 3 to 5 good nuggets that I can come back and realistically implement in my life. And I always come back fired up and motivated and with strategies and fresh vision. And so I'm definitely a big advocate. And I'm glad to hear that you are too. Last thing here is, because this channel was designed to motivate and inspire, what is some advice that you would give, not only to someone that's just coming in new in the insurance industry? I know that's your final expense and getting into Medicare. And of course, we're in Medicare and do all that here in Mississippi as well. But what is some advice, like whether it's some tips, some strategies, some success principles to that person that's looking to just bet on themselves, to go all in like you did a few years ago, but that may just be, scatterbrained, don't know where to start? If there was some advice that you could give them as we close today, what would that advice be?
New agent, just like myself, just getting into the insurance industry, what advice would I give them?
Yeah, or just anyone who's just looking to get a business opportunity in general. Like because I'm interviewing people from the home-based business. I'm interviewing people from different industries on this channel. So it's not just insurance, but just someone who just wants to be their own business. What would you say to them? What advice?
So number one, a lot of people are looking for a job that might pay them a lot of money, whereas what they should be looking for is an opportunity. Don't just look for a job that pays you money. Look for a job that can provide an opportunity, something greater, something bigger.
Boom. Yeah.
And then, man, that's big, because a lot of people are just looking for the highest paying job. And what comes with those highest paying jobs are obviously a lot of great benefits. But if you're really opportunity focused, then that opportunity job can take you a lot further. So that's one thing that I would recommend. And then number 2 is surrounding yourself with other like-minded people. Whatever field you're trying to get in, whatever career you're trying to start, surround yourself with other people that are within that industry, career, that type of field, and start to connect with them. Because I'm a huge believer that, hey, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. Because those people, say if you meet one person, that one person could literally change your life forever.
Yeah.
And that's why investing in yourself, going back to investing in yourself, is so important. Because if you're investing in events, conferences, masterminds, boot camps, whatever it might be, you can meet that one person and they could change your life forever. So yeah, I mean, that's 2 things: is looking for a job that provides, look for the opportunity in the job. Number 1. Number 2 is to just surround yourself with people and start connecting with other people, because those other people have what you want, and they might know someone else that might have what you want. And it's just all about connections, all about building relationships, long-lasting relationships that could take you to another place in your life.
Man, so I totally agree with that, because a lot of the people that I'm interviewing, I met through our president and owner, Justin Brock, the Medicare guru. So one relationship that we met online, right? Did a few contracts underneath him. And, you know, next thing you know, the Medicare minister thing is born, is birth. And now I'm getting the opportunity to interview successful people like you and just motivated people. And same thing, man. I just want to inspire. I want to make a difference. You know what I mean? I want people to get out of that coma, right? And start living on purpose, for a purpose. I'll put this in the video description later, but tell us where we can find you. I know you're on Facebook, but you got YouTube, Instagram. Give us all the locations.
You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, just at Ryan Loede. RYAN is my first name, last name Loede, LOEDE. So you can find me there. I'm more than happy to provide any help to anyone, whether we're working together or not. I'm always, that's just what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to help them get to the next level in their life. I want to change their financial situation and then also help them change other people's financial situations. That's what it's really all about, Rob. I mean, we're here to help ourselves and then also help everyone else.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And man, thank you, man. You've been so generous with your time. I know once we get this out there on the channel, it's going to be fire, man. You dropped some gold today. I told people I can't do dropping bombs because that's, you know, Brad Lee's thing, but maybe I could be like spitting fire or something, have like some pyrotechnics in the background or something, you know, happen. I don't know. But anyhow, you've been so gracious with your time, man. And I just continue to pray for blessings, man, over you and your business. And I know God's going to continue to use you down there to impact people's life, not only in Florida, but across the country. But thanks, man. Thanks once again for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, brother.